Look, I know I said I wouldn't do or draw my life, okay? But that was all because I feel like I've had a melodramatic ass life and I didn't want to bring anyone down. But now I really don't give a crap, because first of all, it's time for a personal ass video. Second of all, I think the outcome of bad things has a lot to do with your attitude about them, so let's try to have a laugh about it. If you don't want melodrama, then click the hell away from this, okay? Things all started, I guess, on June 23rd, 1985, when my mom went into labor while she was eating a mushroom and onion pizza. And by the way, this is my favorite type of pizza to this day. So I have an older sister, Erica, or Mert, as I refer to her in my vlogs. My older sister was a huge asshole. I love her and she's hilarious, but she was such a jerk. When I was 3 or something, I used to be obsessed with this Bambi toy. I always wanted to play with it instead of her, and one day the toy went missing, and I never saw it again. It was a mystery, I'm just saying. Meanwhile, my mom used to take me and my sister to ballet class. I forgot if my sister liked it or not, but I loved it. But it's funny because when I look back on video of that, I used to be way too chubby for that crap, but it was still really cute. It looked more like I was rolling around on stage trying to look like my teacher, but it was a lot of fun. I would show you guys the video, but it's on VHS and I'm never doing anything with that, so you'll never see it. You know, I actually don't remember much of being a kid, and this question mark or something formed over my head that kind of always went with me. Well, maybe it was more like a squiggle, I guess. There were still some really cool things that happened, though. Like, I met my good friend Yuritsa in the 2nd grade, who I am still friends with to this day. I also learned I was really good at drawing. I realize this video is a poor showcase of that, but whatever. Oh, and by the way, the head of my Bambi toy was found around this time because my dad was digging up the backyard to make a patio. The body was never found, in case anybody was wondering. I was bullied really hard during this time too, mostly because of my weight, and I started really hating going to school. Even back then, it annoyed me, now that I'm thinking about it, that I was being picked on for something that I couldn't help that much on my own at the time. Looking back on this, I can't believe bullying held me back so much. No, really. Because they were clearly insecure about their own lives, so they turned to an easy target to delight in tearing down. Obviously. I really hope the rest of you can start seeing bullies this way, and I hope the people that bullied me are happier people now at least. Oh, and hilariously, I also kept getting Bell's palsy around this time, which is when half your face gets paralyzed. I used to have to go to school with this IV drip in my arm because they were treating me for Lyme's disease. I really wish I had my 3rd grade photo to show you guys. It's hysterical. Oh, let's see, what else went wrong? Oh, I developed something called scoliosis. That's when there's a curve in your back. Except mine was especially messed up because I had 2 curves in my back, like my back was shaped like the letter S. I was diagnosed with this when I was 3, but it kept getting worse every year at a crazy rate. I used to have to wear this big ugly brace to try to correct the curve, but it did nothing, it just looked ugly, that's all. So when I was 11, I had to have surgery to keep my back from pressing into my lungs, which was nice. I was actually the youngest person ever to have the surgery, by far. So at the time, it was a really big deal, and it was very scary. I remember getting an MRI of my back, and I peed in the machine. You know, this was before open machines. Back then, they straighten your back as best they can, and then they put these rods and pins in your back to support it, and let it heal that way. Well, my back rejected the rods and pins, and I couldn't move my left leg. Nice. So they took out the rods and pins. I was able to move my leg again, which was a big deal, because there was like a 50% chance I'd never be able to move it again, and I had to wear a body cast for 9 months. Guys, I am not joking, like, it was terrible. And the kids at school were so mean, and they used to knock on my back, like, it was, oh my god, like, what the frick. But you know what? The joke was on them, because when I got the cast off, I had boobs, and they're still quite large to this day. I'm pretty sure scoliosis surgery is a lot less invasive now, and they do it to a lot younger people, so that's good. Even though this was really crappy, I'm actually very grateful for the outcome. Could have been much worse. But, you know, if you can understand, I really started to dislike attention around this time, because I felt like it was like all eyes on me and how I was doing and how big my boobs were, and I don't know. But the rest of middle school was a lot of fun, because that's when I met Soundly Awake and a bunch of other friends. We started our comic book, The Walnuts, and it was hysterical. Actually, this whole video started because I'm trying to figure out the best way to make the walnuts a YouTube reality for you guys, but you're getting this video depression soup instead, sorry. We weren't the popular kids, but we totally had our own clique, and it was very cool. Me and Soundly Awake wrote very enthralling Hanson fan fiction during this time too. And I still love Hanson, P.S., don't hate. So my parents got divorced during this time, and actually I don't feel too weird or melodramatic saying so because it seems like every YouTuber's parents got divorced, which I think is because more and more states are starting to allow gay marriage, which is ruining the institution of marriage. That was dripping with sarcasm, but anyway, I was raised mainly by my dad, so I think that's why it's harder for me to be girly these days, and both my parents remarried, and I have an awesome stepmom, and stepbrother and sister, and a stepdad, and some people have step-family horror stories, but I'm lucky and I don't, and I'm not gonna draw these people because I don't want my hand to fall off, so this is enough. But anyway, then high school came, and that was really, really cool. It was a total whirlwind, and I'm telling you guys, I was like an art star, and I had this incredible art teacher, Ms. Clark, all 4 years. I arranged my entire schedule so that I could always have her as a teacher, and I won all sorts of awards for all sorts of art crap. Once a week I got to go to arts high school, and I got to skip regular school almost all day. It was amazing because I still hated school for no real reason, really. I was also a huge band nerd. I played the flute and the bass guitar because I was badass. I was in pep band, pit band, concert band, jazz ensemble, and I was especially cool because I used to wear ties. Then Avril Lavigne came along, and well, that's when I stopped wearing ties. Actually, it wasn't that great at the flute or bass, but I don't know, I just really liked being a part of something. It was cool. So then I ended up going to Mason Gross School of the Arts at Rutgers University. I didn't like it. Not because I wasn't the best anymore, but because what I made would only be worth like a B, but then the idiot sitting next to me would get an A, even though it was usually some stupid crap like graffiti, which has already been done to death already. So no one liked me, and I didn't have many friends at school, so I started questioning my whole life, because up until that point I had been like painting only. And during that time I went through a breakup, which wasn't that big of a deal, but it was back then because I was so disappointed with my life, or I don't know, whatever reason. So after that failed and shut down, I decided to join a bunch of clubs. Back then, I was a Republican, and I made a ton of friends at the college Republicans. I enjoyed it because a lot of them were liberal on social issues like I was, so that's kind of cool. My friends and I started a conservative publication on campus. I actually became pretty infamous on campus because of this. A lot of people didn't like me. Again, this is probably because our magazine said some pretty infuriating things looking back on it. Like, we used to give out, quote, Liberal of the Month awards to certain professors. Oh, and then we would record the whole thing and put it on the internet. I almost got kicked out several times. Actually, in 2004, I went to a workshop for political college papers in Washington, D.C. for the weekend, and I met a girl that recognized my scoliosis surgery scar while we were changing in the dorm. Well, check this out. It turns out she had scoliosis surgery the same summer as me. She was from Virginia, and they were waiting to see how my surgery, the quote, girl in New Jersey, fared before they operated on her because she was young too. So that was pretty cool. Then I finally got kicked out of school for real because I wasn't taking enough art classes, and I wasn't admitted to any other college at Rutgers. Apparently Rutgers is really hard to get into. Who knew? That's seriously it. It's the most boring kicked out of college story ever. I never drank, never did drugs. It was just administrative, like, baloney. This looks totally different now because I had to get a new light bulb because the other one popped, and it was annoying because that happened at 2 in the morning. I had to wait until the next day, so it's actually daylight now. Anyway, so after a year of BSing at the whatever, I decided to up and move to Philadelphia with my really good friend Jesse Gimbel. Soundly Awake still visited me several times a week. It was amazing. I loved Philadelphia, and I loved living with Jesse. Me, him, Soundly Awake made hilarious songs and put them on MySpace. They're still there. I put a link in the underbar. You need to listen to them. They're hilarious. And Jesse had a t-shirt company he started himself called Avenue 16 Apparel. He used to screen print the shirts in our apartment because he's a badass. I started working at the new Macy's there. They were opening in the Wanamaker building in Center City, Philadelphia. I worked at a counter for Prescriptives Cosmetics. I was so friggin' proud. And I only got this job because I have great skin. I had no makeup experience whatsoever, but customers seemed to really love me. Plus, I was gonna have health insurance after 6 months. I lost it when I dicked out of school, so that was so good. Well, it was all fun and games until I was forced to go to the doctor because randomly I couldn't see out of my left eye. I figured it was because I hadn't taken my disposable contacts out in who knows how long. So me and Suddenly Awake went to the ER. Then all of a sudden the day got much more serious than that. I found out I have something called multiple sclerosis, and I had to learn what that was really fast. Oh, don't worry, I still had fun after this, but maybe too much fun, I suppose. Just to get my mind off the, squiggle, I guess, and all the crap. Then me and Jesse were no longer roommates because I ruined it. A4, our apartment was no more, was 100% my fault. This was by far the most horrible out of everything in my life so far, and the worst thing I've ever done. Me and my squiggle moved back home. I mean, this is what happens when you let squiggles get too big. So I started working at a stationery store in the mall called Papyrus. It was boring as hell, but eventually I was promoted, and actually I loved the people I worked with. My favorite part was helping customers looking for wedding invitations. But, I still wasn't happy about all the mistakes I made. I was still privately struggling with the diagnosis, and, privately struggling is really dumb, guys. Just don't do it. Then, in late 2008, with the help of Soundly Awake, that almost rhymed and I kind of want to throw up in my mouth. Anyway, I started uploading YouTube videos. And who knew it doubled as a social networking site? Xsparkage, Petrolude, MacNC40, and lots of others helped get my career, I guess, here off the ground. And you guys started watching the hell out of me. I was completely blown away by this because I don't know if you remember, but back then, I was asking you to please unsubscribe. I met so many incredible friends on this site. Me and Suddenly Awake used to go to New York City as often as possible to hang out with Will and Ray. You may know them as the Will of DC and Ray William Johnson. This is back in the day when Ray was doing Breaking New York City, and me and Will used to have liquid lunches and then go on Blog TV. I know people hate, but Ray was a really cool guy actually. I remember he gave me his Google phone because he had just gotten a new phone from YouTube, and I didn't have a smartphone at the time. Well, then they moved to LA, so that was the end of that, but I miss those assholes. And again, because of you guys, I'm like kissing your ass now. But anyway, I was able to quit my job at Papyrus in 2011, and this was beautiful timing because I kept having MS relapses, I was feeling more tired, and working at Papyrus is hard, and I don't know. Thank you guys for that. I mean, I was happy to make YouTube my job. Look, I think I'm gonna quit it with my life at this point because I feel like I've detailed my life on this channel pretty well so far. But I wanted to let you guys know that over the past 5 years, my sister Mert has been very busy making children. I've got my great nephew Anthony, he's 5, he's in kindergarten already, and he's awesome. And my niece Lydia, who is 4, so pretty. And my baby niece Charlotte, who I think looks like me a little bit. Just saying. I love the 3 of them so much. It took me a while to decide if I wanted to do a Draw My Life or not, even though I knew that everybody wanted it and it was way popular, but I didn't want to make like a melodramatic ass. I know like a bunch of BS happened in my life that's like kind of depressing, and I didn't want to throw out like a bunch of depressing crap, but I feel like the message here, guys, is have a sense of humor and put things into perspective. Seriously, there's a lot of people that have it so much worse, and you really need to be grateful for what you do have. Just be grateful and enjoy it, okay? Grateful and enjoy it, that's the key. And, I mean, I guess that's not the only key because I don't know, what to do with my life at all, but I don't think anybody does. I think that's the end of my Draw My Life, is a bunch of question marks, so what's next? Who knows? Let's see! Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. So glad I'm done. This took for frigging ever.